Insane casters that derive their power from the old gods. Today we go over the World of Warcraft Legion Shadow Priest. Shadow Priests have a unique and diverse tool set. I'm going to go over what I use currently and what I think are the best talents based on some research that I've done on the internet and just basic playthrough. The first row of talents, the level 15 talents, basically only have one choice, which is Twist of Fate. It's going to be your default choice for basically any time you do anything. It gives you a 10-second buff each time you damage a target whose health is below 35%. It gives you increased damage and increased healing. Doesn't stack though, so it's not like you can, Shadow Word Pain 50 mobs and get it to work. For the second row of talents, I chose Body and Soul, basically because it's an on-demand speed boost. I messed around with Masochism a little bit. It didn't. It allows Shadowman's Dot to act as a hot, actually, which is a little weird. I mean, you're a damage dealer. It's not going to be something you're going to use often. Your level 45 talents are mostly CC abilities, so I just took the one that decreases the cooldown of your Psychic Scream, your AoE Fear. God forbid you do this in a raid, though. It's just going to get you roundhouse kicked in the face anyway, so it's mostly for when you're actually soloing. Your level 60 talents are a little bit more of a choice. Void Lord's kind of out, though. It allows your Lingering Insanity to last 8 seconds after you enter Void form. Basically, you keep the haze buff for 8 seconds as you go in. It's usually between Reaper of Souls and Void Ray for me. I take Void Ray 99.9% of the time. Basically because if you're in a raid situation, it's great to be an Executor Priest, but basically your job is to get them down there so the Executors can do their job. So I tend to take Void Ray. Your level 75 talents, there's really no choice here. You take Auspicious Spirits for the DPS increase. Your level 90 talents, same thing. You're going to take Mindbender to help keep yourself in Void form a lot longer. Now your level 100 talents are a little bit different. It's basically a choice between Legacy of the Void and Surrender to Madness. I do like the way Mind Spike plays a little better, but it's just not as big of a boost. Most of the people I've talked to will take Legacy of the Void. I take Surrender to Madness because it's just too damn fun. What it does is it's a 10-minute cooldown. It's a huge cooldown. It lasts until you come out of Void form. It gives all your abilities the chance to generate 200 more Insanity. You can cast while moving. Basically, it keeps you in Void form for a long time. There's a catch, though, and it's an awesome catch. When you die, you die. No B-res, no way to come back. I have no doubt this is arguably one of the best DPS cooldowns in the game right now. When I pop Surrender to Madness, I go insane. I'll show you in the video in the rotationary part. Your rotation is going to consist of two main phases. First is going to be the build phase where you're building your Insanity up to full. The second one is going to be a conserve phase where you're going to try to stay in Void form as long as humanly possible. The longer you stay in Void form, the higher your Lingering Insanity will be, so your haste will be increased by a significant amount. That's the main mechanic when you're doing rotation, is to build as much haste in Void form so when you pop out, you're casting like a maniac. Now your build phase is very, very simple. You're going to cast Shadow Word Pain, Vampiric Touch, Mind Blast, and then you're going to fill in with Mind Flay. Whenever Mind Blast comes off cooldown, pop it. Whenever Vampiric Touch or Shadow Word Pain's about to fall off, refresh it. You're going to build this up till you reach 100 Insanity, and then that's when the fun is going to start. One of the key changes that happens when you go in Void form is it becomes Void Bolt, which is your highest Insanity generating ability. Now a quick side note, I told you I take Mindbender, and here's the reason why. I never use Mindbender outside of Void form. It's too important to have on cooldown in Void form. When you're in Void form, it's your main DPS cooldown. It should be used on cooldown, especially if you have enough haste to where you can stay in Void form that long to come back around to it. Other than that, it's a basic priority list, with Void Bolt being at the top, Shadow Fiend or Mindbender being right behind that, Shadow Word Death being right behind that, then Mind Blast, and re-imply your Shadow Word Pain or Vampiric Touch. You should only actually use Mind Flay as a filler, and you're not going to use it as... I find that I'm not using it often at all. When you get higher haste, you're probably going to use it a little bit more. Basically, you keep rotating that priority, and you'll get really high stacks of Insanity. or lingering insanity, as it were. Now, lastly, we have Surrender to Madness, and this is a very, very hard ability to use well, so I'm going to kind of go over when I've used it. It is my execute phase. If I have enough haste to where I think I can stay here for a good amount of time, it's going to take some practice to get to where you know how to use it. But if I have, I think, enough haste to stay in there for a certain amount of time, I pop it when there's, I think, about that amount of time left in the fight. Because once I'm done, I die. There's no way to, res me, no way to get it out. But until that time, I am a freaking machine. So you want to pop it towards the end of a fight, or basically when there's a huge burn phase where people can survive without you. It's completely situational. Now, you're going to probably change out of this during some boss fights. But it's still the best DPS cooldown in the game. So especially if you're on progression, when you get to that last 10% burn, you have a couple of Shadow Priests that pop Surrender to Madness. You're going to be able to push that burn. You'll be just fine. Just keep in mind, when you die, you die. I cannot stress that enough. A DK is not going to get you up. A Druid is not going to get you up. You're done. The old gods have taken you, so to speak. So be very, very careful with that ability. Until then, though, it is great damn fun. For your stat priorities, you're going to want to go, obviously, intellect, spell power highest, but of the secondary abilities, you're going to want to go with haste over everything. Haste is king in this spec, followed by critical strike, then versatility, then mastery. These are the stat priorities you're going to want to follow in order to maximize your damage per second. I hope this guide has been helpful to you. I've had fun making it and I hope you enjoy using it. I'll try to post more as often as I can. Peace out, and I hope you guys have a great day.